Hey, what's going on, man? We are making cola syrup. I've been working on this recipe for some time. I kind of married a couple recipes together, took what I like out of a couple recipes, and I've been tweaking it, and I got it pretty consistent now. I think you're gonna like it. I'm gonna double the recipe myself for my purposes because I know how it turns out, so that's why I'm doubling this recipe. But if you want to try it out for the first time, you might just want to try a single batch. Here's the ingredients you're going to need. Man, some oolong tea. Black tea works fine. You need some kind of clear alcohol, just a small 1 or 2 ounces. This is I'm using Kitchen Bouquet as my caramel color. It's available like in the next to the Worcestershire sauce, I think. You know, depends on your grocery store, but that's basically the #1 ingredient. There is caramel color. Got some vanilla, some cinnamon, coriander, nutmeg. Got lime, lemon, orange. I'm using some lemon leaves because I don't have Kaffir Lime Leaf, and also using this here is my suitable substitute for citric acid. It's the #1 ingredient in there. I'm using that for my citric acid. However, they also make another kind. It's this black cherry kind, and it just gives it a little bit more complex flavor. It doesn't really make it a cherry Coke, but it does give it a little more cherry flavor, and it makes the flavor a little more complex. So I use this black cherry flavor instead of the lemon, but you can use the lemon. If you don't have either one of these things, you can use just another little more lime juice for your citric acid or lime zest. Alright, so we're going to get started. We're going to put 8 cups of oolong tea, now 8 bags into 6 cups of water, and we'll go from there. Oh yeah, the #1 ingredient, I forgot, man. Sugar. You're gonna need some sugar. Eight bags of oolong tea. It's very mild flavor. It just makes the flavor a little more complex like we like. It's going to add a little bit of caramel color, and it's going to add a little bit of caffeine. It's going to be the base of our flavor syrup. It's going to start with this oolong tea. 8 bags, 6 cups of water. So the recipe calls for 2 teaspoons of zest. Start with the orange. 2 teaspoons. What I do is I use a paring knife and just cut some of that off. Don't worry if you get some of that white pith on there. It's okay if it's a little bitter. And then, even though it only asks for 2 teaspoons, I basically loosely pack a tablespoon, and that'll be my 2 teaspoons. Will just be loose pack like that, pretty much, almost. That's about 2 teaspoons of orange zest, and I'll do that. That's 2 teaspoons of orange zest, maybe just a little more, and then I'll do the same thing with the lemon and the lime. So it'll be, I'm going to double it, but for your recipe, if you're going to just make a single batch, it's going to be 2 teaspoons orange, 2 teaspoons lemon, and 1 teaspoon lime zest. Okay, I've zested the orange. I zested all the citrus. There it is. It's basically what you're going to have is about 2 teaspoons orange, 2 teaspoons lemon, 1 teaspoon lime. And what we're going to do, throw all that in the mortar pestle. It's going to take me 2 hands to do that. But then we're also going to put that in there with these. These are lemon tree leaves. I'm using them just to, it adds a little bitterness to it as well. And that's in place of the Kaffir Lime Leaf, which is in place of something else that it's a bunch of substitutes. We're substituting something to make it bitter without adding flavor. So that's what these leaves are for. Now I'm also going to add these 3 spices in there, and we're going to grind it up with this thing and all these in here, and just make them flavors pop a little bit. And then after I grind it up in here a little bit, toss it in the tea. Tea's coming along nice and dark over here. And we'll get back to that in 1 second. Yeah, so you can see I just put the cinnamon and the spices in here with the lime leaves and the zest. And so yeah, you just grind it up like a mortar pestle supposed to be used. You'll see it's crazy fragrance coming out right now. And then dump this in the tea. Make sure you get, you know, once you grind it up, make sure you get it all out and put it all in the tea and steep in that tea for like 25 minutes. Simmer, like a small, low simmer for 25 minutes in that oolong tea. Yeah, again, we're going to simmer this. In the tea, about 25 minutes. Smells unbelievable. If you've got to this point, you know what's coming. You know it's good. Okay? So, I'll see you in 20 minutes. Okay, so it's been 25 minutes-ish, and we're gonna strain this into here. I prefer a fine mesh strainer to get the cinnamon out. Otherwise, you're gonna have a little sediment in your syrup or your soda. So you want to use a fine mesh strainer. Strain it, press it out a little bit, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we took the tea bags out, and we strained the rest of the ingredients here. And then what I do, I take a step further and I rinse it in 2 ounces of alcohol and let it sit there, and it'll actually pull more flavor out of it. So yeah, just sit there and soak it in this alcohol for a little while. It adds a little bit more complexity to the flavor and extracts a little bit more flavor out of these ingredients. And then I'll strain it again back into the liquid, and we'll caramelize some sugar and make the syrup. This is actually where I put a little bit of vanilla in, because it's already got some alcohol in it usually, so might as well just go in the alcohol bath. I'm gonna put a little extra, just a couple drops. I put in a couple drops twice because I'm making a double batch, not to confuse things. Yeah, so then I just rinse those ingredients in the alcohol, extract a little more flavor, and strain it again. We'll add that back to the tea. Press this a little bit down, a little bit. And this is the alcohol, just flavored with, we just rinsed those ingredients with the alcohol. Goes in there. Now we're going to make the syrup. I strained it again to get some of that sediment out, man, so you know. Now we're going to make the syrup. Alright, man, we're almost done here. We're down to making the syrup, so you're gonna put, if you're just making a single batch, it's half a cup of sugar to start with. You're gonna caramelize it and add the rest of the sugar. This is gonna be on medium-low heat. Caramelize it slowly, and then we'll add the sugar and that flavored tea. We're going to add the rest of the sugar. So we caramelize this, then we're going to add the rest of the sugar and that tea, and then these last couple ingredients right here, and then we're going to make some cola. You'll love it. Okay, I let this go a little long. It's kind of dark, but it doesn't matter. because you want it to be a little bitter. And actually, as you can see, there's a little solids in the bottom still, so it's not all like that. So now we're just going to add the rest of the sugar. If you do just a single batch, I think it's another cup and a half. I'm doubling it, as we know. So this goes in there, and we stir and add the liquid. Okay, here we go. We're just going to stir it up a little bit and then add the syrup. And then just sits here, simmers until all that sugar melts. It'll all melt. It'll take time. Keep it on a low, medium low, like you had it before, and the sugar will melt. And put a lid on it. Put a lid on it while the sugar's melting. And keep stirring it. Yeah, so just carefully breaking it off the sides and the bottom and stirring gently. And I just leave the spoon in there with the lid on so that the sugar doesn't stick to the spoon. The sugar that's stuck to the spoon will, that'll melt off too. And just keep coming back and stirring and simmering until all the sugar's melted. All right, all the sugar's dissolved. We're just going to let it cool off a little bit before we add these last ingredients right here. Okay, we let it cool. We're going to add these last couple things, and we're going to have our syrup. So again, this is Kitchen Bouquet. It's basically just caramel color. If you're making just a single batch, you use about 1 ounce of it, and this is where I would add it. This is where I'm adding it now. I'm using 2 ounces, but you saw earlier it's pretty dark. Basically what cola is a citrusy soda with some warm spices and a warm color to it, like a coffee color. Okay, gonna add this citric acid. I got this black cherry flavored. It's all natural. And then I'm gonna add, if you're doing just one batch, it would be the juice of 1 lime. So I'm doing the 2. And then if you're doing 1 batch, you're gonna use half of one of these packets. And if you don't have this item here, then you can just use more lemon zest, more lime zest. I think citric acid is only to make it a little bit more bitter. You can add lemon zest or lime zest instead of citric acid if you don't have this, or lime juice or lemon juice. Pretty sure any of those things is a suitable substitute. Okay, if you've added your lime juice and you've added your citric acid, you've added your caramel color, optional. Caramel color is optional. It's all natural too. It's just burnt sugar and water and some spices. I don't think there's really any spices in there. You can't taste any. And then you have your syrup. You're done here. And what you do is you mix this. And I'll be honest with you, I was making this syrup long before I had a soda stream. I would get sparkling water, 16-ounce bottles, and put 2 ounces of this syrup with a 16-ounce bottle of, for instance, Perrier or whatever, some of those sparkling waters. You know what I mean. 16 ounces of sparkling water.